Hello and welcome to the Healing Insight podcast, episode 73, with me, Sarah Hunt.
And me, Jez Hunt.
Hello, Jay. How are you? It's another lovely day down here and in the Bedfordshire area. We certainly haven't had any rain for a couple of days after torrential rain earlier in the week. So all is good, as they say.
Yeah, it's nice because we've had, considering it's July, we've had some interesting weather.
Yes.
Not sort of the hot summers that I remember as a child necessarily. I mean, we've had some hot days, but
Well,
not.
we had the hot summer last year, didn't we?
Well, yeah, maybe that was
Really
it.
hot. Yeah, maybe that was it. But my vegetables are all growing nicely because we're having plenty of rain. So I'm a happy bunny.
Yeah, it's all good. And actually, to be fair, it's nice when it rains because if has been hot or particularly humid, then it cools everything down.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
so no, everything's good with me. Thank you. Same as really, just nice weather now, and also had some severe rainstorms, which has been quite amusing. So
Mm, yeah, indeed. Well, today I thought it might be interesting to explore what is spirituality.
ooh,
There's lots of different perspectives with it.
yep,
And having been brought up in a religious home, there, there yeah, we've had different viewpoints of it, haven't we? I think over our lifetime.
yeah.
So yeah, how would you like to start with that?
Oh, throw it to me, thanks.
That's all quick.
Pass the ball, run away. Um, okay, so for me, what is spirituality? I think people have their. It can mean so many different things to so many different people. So
Mm,
we were brought up in a Church of England Christian family with mum and dad's beliefs, and to them, spirituality was believing in God and believing in Jesus and the things that go along with that. For other people, there are other religions that they believe in, and that to them could be spirituality.
mm,
There's also paganism, which is also their beliefs and spirituality. For me now, it's about being connected to me, being connected to my soul, being connected to my sense of purpose. That's kind of
mhm,
where I'm at the moment with it.
mhm,
Um, it for me, it's about having a meaning and purpose. It's about having compassion, being connected to others. It's particularly about inner exploration and
mm,
self-awareness. So it's kind of at that it's kind of at that point where in the physical form we are all stardust. We're all the same thing. We're made up of the same thing as the earth, as the animals, as the plants, as the actual bits we're chemically made up of, if you like. It's all come from the same thing. So we're bigger than just me, Jez Hunt. We're part of something bigger. I mean, yes, I'm a person in my own right, but I am part of something bigger. So that's kind of part of it. I mean, I can't sum it up in a sentence. I don't think I can't
I think
yet.
it is quite difficult to sum up in a sentence, isn't it? To me, I have some very similar beliefs to you, but and this is my beliefs and my understanding of
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
what is for me. It is very much a journey of self-discovery and self-healing. Um, but it's about moving into the heart center. So out of your head into your heart,
Yeah,
one of my favorite.
yeah, yeah.
I like to bring up. And the reason that you need to be in your heart, or I feel you need to be in your heart, is because it gives you more of a connection. And you were talking about connections there. To me, it's connections with myself, my soul. It's connections with other people. It's feeling more connected to what I would term as true source. And to me, that is the energy of pure love and pure light that we came from and we go back to. And as an energy healer, that's my way of describing things. But it's also about feeling connected to those who are in spirit that are there to guide us as well. It's about purpose, but it's also about that feeling of inner joy, of inner peace that comes um, with going inward and kind of coming to that understanding that we are more than the physical body, and that is, one of my things that really, we are so much more than the physical body.
Yeah.
um and 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 so we have so much potential for growth, um whilst we're down here on the earth, and having the experience that we're having. And to me we are a spiritual being having a human existence.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, looking for enlightenment, working towards true enlightenment. But it's not that we don't understand what enlightenment is. We've forgotten what it is.
Mm.
Kind of open ourselves back up to that um understanding that we are much more than our physical body,
Mm-hmm.
which for some people it might be quite a big jump to kind of go to that. I don't know. But I guess it's, your level of spirituality is where you're at that time. And I do feel there's a lot of people who work on what I would term as a very high spiritual level without even realizing on a conscious level that they're actually doing that. And these are people that are working from their heart most of the time, in their heart led. Um, um, they're doing what they love. They're what we would call on purpose, and so they're actually already doing or working on that spiritual level without actually realizing that that's what they're doing.
Mm.
And
A
I had
couple of, sorry.
sorry, I was just going to say I had an interesting conversation with someone recently who said that a relative of theirs had got into meditation. She was doing various different other things, and to her that was her being spiritual and learning to be spiritual. And and this person said, oh, she said I should get into that, but I'm not really drawn to it. And I said, but being spiritual is about being more connected with yourself. It's about being heart led and heart centered. And aren't you doing that already? And that, it was quite interesting to watch her face as she kind of looked and went, oh yeah, maybe I am actually doing that.
Mm. The important thing that stood out there is that spirituality is whatever it means to us, because it's based on what we believe it to be wherever we're at in our journey at that time. And there is no right or wrong answer here. So whatever you believe is what you believe is spirituality is. The other thing that is important to say is, just because somebody else has a different interpretation of what spirituality is doesn't make them wrong. So they might have a different opinion of what it is to you
Mm.
doesn't make what you believe wrong. It doesn't make what they believe wrong. It just means you have a difference of opinion of what you believe spirituality to be.
And
So
that's okay,
yeah,
because it's
and absolutely
everybody's
that's
journey,
okay.
isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And I think the other thing as well is that your understanding of spirituality, like anything, may change as you continue along your journey and you grow and you come to a greater understanding of yourself. And so it's, you know, there's many different things that can affect how you perceive spirituality.
Yes.
And so, you know, you might discover something or start to look into something and think, oh, yeah, that kind of resonates with me. And that might then change your perspective of where you're at with what you believe
I think
around spirituality.
that's the thing with healing and our own journey generally, not just spirituality, is to experience things, to be open to experience things, and to allow the things that resonate. And I was going to use the word reject, but I don't mean, but let go of the things that don't. So not everything will resonate with everybody because it depends where you are in terms of your belief system, your where you are with your experiences, how you perceive life, as to whether something resonates or not. You know, we were talking in the last episode, we were talking about what is healing, and healing will mean different things to different people. And some people will think of certain things as woo woo, and some people will think of same with spirituality. Some people will think certain ways of looking at life is not spiritual in their opinion. But that doesn't mean it isn't for the individual that believes that being heart centered and going out in nature every day and relaxing or meditating for hours on end, if that's spirituality to that person, then that's correct and that's fine and that's right. You know, it doesn't have to be, there doesn't have to be a structure to it necessarily, like I'm being careful what I'm saying here, because this isn't about dissing anybody, because spirituality is what it is to you. Some ways of looking at spirituality can be more structured than others. And, you know, our upbringing with Christianity, with Dad, you know, it was very much about going. It was all orientated. A lot of it was orientated around church on the Sunday and going to a Sunday service, and the service was structured. And I'm not saying that's wrong, because it isn't. It's right for that. And if that's what you believe, that's absolutely right for you in that moment. That doesn't mean that your perception of what spirituality is won't change over time. You've already said this. So it may be that evolves, and you become more involved in that, or it might mean that you have a shift of perception which leads you to something else, to a different understanding, as has happened with us.
Mm.
So going back to what you were saying about spirituality being this journey of going to being heart led and heart centered, then it doesn't matter what your belief is. If you're being heart led and heart centered in what you're doing, then that's right. So whether you believe in God as God, or whether you believe in the universe or spirit or source or true source, or whatever variant, whatever's right for you and feels right to you is right for you in that
At that
moment.
moment.
In that
Mm.
moment, yeah.
Mm. Yeah. And there can be many different things that open people up to looking at things from different perspectives, can't there? There can be, it might be some kind of it might just be something that triggers something and people start to question things and look at things differently. And that kind of happened for me. But I would say probably the fact that I had the car accident that I had was the start really of my journey with change and understanding of spirituality and or of my change in my belief system, maybe is how I want to put it. And I had walked away from Christianity because it didn't resonate with me in the form that we were brought up with it. And that was my journey.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been experiences that I've had where I can see, I think when you look back sometimes you can kind of see things in a slightly different way, can't you? Where I was, a bit of a antsy teenager who was like, you're not telling me what I can believe and not believe. Coming to my own kind of perception of things, and it comes back to kind of almost a form of faith, doesn't it? And I remember having a conversation with one of our brothers um who is very involved with Christianity, and we came to the conclusion, like we've just been talking about, that each of us has our own perspective on what spirituality is, and that's what's right for each of us, but it wasn't wrong. And it was quite an interesting conversation that we had 3 or 4 years ago. And it kind of hit him that actually there are other ways of looking at what spirituality is, and that's okay.
Yeah. The key point there
I
is
think
that it's not wrong. It's not wrong
yeah,
if someone has a different viewpoint to you.
yeah. And that's the same with everything, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's
yeah,
not just with spirituality. It's the same with absolutely everything. And that's because of the experiences we've had and the reference points we've got. Um, and the experiences that I've had are different to the ones that you've had. And so whilst we look at this particular topic along similar lines, we won't see it in exactly the same way because we've both had different experiences that have influenced the way that we look at things, and that's okay.
yeah,
Equally, um, how our other two brothers look at what spirituality is, and we were all brought up in the same environment, but we all have different perspectives of it.
yes,
And that's normal because of the different experiences that we've had, and then the different experiences we've had as adults that have influenced our perspective or made us question things, or made us look at things from a different perspective and think, oh, does this resonate with me? No, it doesn't. Okay, that's fine. Does this resonate with me? Yeah, actually it does. Okay, I can take that on board. And I think that's the same with anything that you look at, any topic that you look at. It's down to what resonates with you, what feels right to you in that moment. And that doesn't mean to say that you'll feel exactly the same way about it 6 months down the road. You might have had some different experiences, had some things happen that have made you question things, made you go inward a bit more, and you might start to look at things a bit differently. And that's okay.
absolutely.
It just depends on where you're at, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah. And as you say, it's this is actually the same for any part of life. This isn't just about this. It's everything is your interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Everything is the conclusion you come to based on the evidence, in air quotes, that you see, or when I use the word see, I don't necessarily, not just visual. It could be all the senses and perception. you then make a conclusion as to what that evidence, in air quotes, means to you.
Mm.
And like you say, it's based on our beliefs, our values, our experiences. It's based on how we filter the world and how we experience the world. And we've talked about this on the podcast before, where we can recount stories from when we were children, and yet we remember different things. I mean, there will be, well, there are often common things that we do remember, and we all remember that, with Simon and Tim as well. We all remember the same things in certain elements, but there's also bits that we don't remember, or
Or we have a different
one of us
perspective of it.
sees
You
it
know,
differently. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
So, and that's perfectly normal. That's because of the way we function in the human body, in the way that we interpret stuff. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, so I think spirituality as well, to me, is very much an individual thing. And I think you've kind of touched on that, well, said quite a bit about that, but it does. It it's it's an individual way of coming to an understanding of the meaning of life.
Yeah.
Does life have meaning to you? If it does, what is that meaning? And then that kind of links into your purpose. Are you actually on purpose? Are you doing the things that really make your heart sing, that you feel that you need to achieve while you're here? But it's also about feeling empowered to be your true self as well, and not hiding behind a mask or pretending to be someone that you're not. It's about allowing yourself to be authentic.
Yeah, and not worrying what other
And not
people
worrying what
think.
others people. Yeah. 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 So it's there's quite a lot to it, but it is without doubt a very individual thing, and no one can ever question um anybody else's beliefs because they're not that person. It's we need to have an acceptance that somebody is where they're at, and we might not agree with that, and that's okay. We can talk to people about our own beliefs, which might make them question their beliefs. And certainly when I've talked to people about different things, I've gone, hold on there. Do I need to look at that? Do I need to look at that in me? So it's always useful to have discussions with people, isn't it, about different topics, especially ones that can be quite
Emotive.
emotive.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean to say that either person in that discussion is wrong, because we're all individuals, although I certainly believe we're all equal and we're all connected.
Yeah.
But 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 we all have individual experiences and therefore individual opinions and beliefs, and all of them are valid because it relates to where we are on our journey at that particular moment in time that we have that conversation or discussion or whatever it might be.
It's okay to question. You could start saying about not questioning someone else. It's okay to question. It's the intention behind it. So, are you questioning to understand, or are you questioning to judge? Because if you're
Yes.
questioning, well, you believe that and I don't believe that, so you are wrong. If you're going down that avenue, that's not right. That's not
Heart-centered.
heart-centered or correct even. If you're going down there, okay, that's how you view the world. This is how I view the world, or spirituality in this case. This is how I view it. That's how you view it. Then some of that that you believe resonates with me. Some of what I say might or might not resonate with you. We are both correct. We are both right for us on our respective journeys at that moment in time. So questioning, life is about questioning. It's about questioning our lives. It's about questioning ourselves. It's doing it in the right way with the right intention behind it.
I think I didn't define what I meant as well as I could have done. Because yeah, we do need to be questioning things, don't we? But we need to come to our own understanding, our own perspective on things and what feels right for us.
And I think that's the thing. You know, it's gathering the information and then sifting through it and feeling what resonates and letting go of the stuff that doesn't. Because at that
Yeah.
moment, if it doesn't resonate with us in that moment, then it's not right for us in that moment. It doesn't mean it won't be in the future.
Mm,
Doesn't mean it ever will be.
mm,
But just at that moment, it's not right for us. It doesn't resonate, so it's not where we are right then.
yeah. Yeah. And I think that's an important thing to remember. It is all about what resonates with us, isn't it? What resonates with you in that moment. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Mm.
Quite,
Interesting topic to explore, don't you think?
yeah. Quite interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So,
So feels like it needs to be left there. So that's what we'll do. And until next time, it's goodbye from me.
thank you very much. And it's goodbye from him.